Hello and welcome to our webinar, ISA-IEC 62443 Certifications in 2022, the ISASecure program, hosted by the ISASecure program. Thanks for joining us today. A few logistical notes about today's webinar. All attendees will be muted for the duration of this presentation. If you have any questions, you can submit those at any time using the question mark feature of your GoToWebinar console. Your questions will only be seen by the presenters, and all questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. We're joined today by our speaker, Mr. Andre Restaino. Andre is the Managing Director of Global Consortia for the International Society of Automation. He provides staff leadership for ISA's conformance certification programs, global consortia, and alliances. These programs include the ISA 100 Wireless Compliance Institute, the ISASecure program, LOGIIC, and the ISAGCA. Prior to ISA, Mr. Restaino held positions at NEMA, Renaissance Worldwide, and Deloitte & Touche's Consulting Advanced Manufacturing Technology Group, where he was a recognized leader in system lifecycle methodologies. Industries served include state and local government, utilities, USAF, LC, discrete manufacturing, and pharmaceutical and FDA-regulated manufacturing sites. All right, at this time, I'll turn the mic over to Andre to kick us off.
Thanks, Mike. Are you hearing me okay?
Yep, I hear you great.
Awesome, thanks. So I always start out my presentations with the mantra that our goal here at ISA is to elevate OT cybersecurity from an art to a science to an engineering discipline. Much like safety was 40 or 50 years ago, when practitioners thought that accidents were random events and there really wasn't any science applied to it. Well, today, safety engineering is a pretty well-developed discipline. So this is what we want to do with OT cybersecurity. And the ISA-IEC 62443 standards are provide the foundational basis for elevating OT cybersecurity to an engineering discipline. So just a little bit about ISA. We are a professional engineering society focused on automation engineering. We're kind of a corner case engineering society. Didn't get much notice, but after the 9/11 events and we started developing cybersecurity standards for automation, we gained a little more recognition globally. And as automation is so impactful and important to our everyday lives now, automation engineering is expanding as an engineering discipline. So we do certification of personnel, technicians, automation engineers. We do education to help them sharpen the saw. We're also an ANSI accredited standards development organization. We've published over 150 standards, many of which are also submitted to the IEC for internationalization and global recognition. So we have a semi-referee journal called INTEC. We do lots of publications, host conferences, etc. So we have sections in 44 countries and we touch more than 350,000 customers a year. So just a quick, some fast facts on the ISA 99 committee. It's intended for non-IT, not consumer grade. It's for industrial grade operational technology. It addresses automation and control systems in most of the critical infrastructure sectors. It was formed in 2002 after the 9/11 event, where the engineers recognized the amount of damage that can be caused by bad actors attacking our critical infrastructure, water, wastewater, electric, and others. So it's fairly mature today, 15 sections, 500 normative requirements. It's unique in that it covers the full life cycle of the automation life cycle. And we've had more than 1,000 volunteer members. Anybody can participate in the ISA 99 committee, you don't have to be an ISA member. You don't have to pay any fees. You just contact the ISA standards group and ask to be listed on one of the committees. So we do a lot of liaisons to other organizations like the Open Process Automation Forum, the more Web NIST in the US, DHS, INL, and ISASecure. So the 62443 standards are the most referenced standard in the NIST cybersecurity framework, by the way. So this is what the standards look like from an organizational perspective. The top row is the context documents describing concepts and models, master glossary, system security conformance metrics, that's not published yet. And then there's also life cycle and use cases. The green row is the asset owner operator set of standards. And so it describes how to stand up a security program. Under development is protection levels. Patch management is published. Requirements for service providers, the 2-4 standard's been out for some time. That was actually published at IEC and adopted in the reverse direction by ISA. And then there's another document that's planned implementation guidance. So there are a lot of derivative products and wraparounds to make these standards useful that are under development by a variety of organizations, including ISA and other ISAGCA. So the standards themselves are the core foundational elements, though. So the brown row is the set of standards that address system security capabilities for systems. It also includes a key activity, security risk assessment and system design. That kind of precedes the whole development and integration process. And then the 3-1 is the technical report, security technologies for control systems. Down at the bottom is the standards that address security capabilities for components and secure product development lifecycle requirements. So these are the product-oriented standards. So news about the standard itself. So the IEC is designated the 62443 standards as a technical horizontal standard. And that essentially means that industry sectors who are functional standards are directed to adopt the 62443 standards for their cybersecurity requirements and use that as a basis for securing the technology for their sector. And it's basically an overlay called a security profile. The rules are currently being written now for how you declare that you want to do one and how they're developed and approved. So we know that there's some activity already underway to create sector-specific security profiles. In the smart building space, we actually are working, collaborating with a new nonprofit that's standing up a certification program for building technology. So we've partnered with NEMA and this new organization called Building Cybersecurity to build this framework. It has not been submitted as a security profile. I envision that at some point it will, but it's going a long ways towards such a status. Other industry sectors that are adopting 62443 is the medical device industry. In the U.S., the 62443 is finally making its way into the electric power sector. There's a security profile development for substations phase right now, and another group that's addressing distributed electric resources like wind power and solar power are also looking towards 62443 as the foundational element for their cybersecurity requirements. So Over the past couple of years, the adoption on the supplier side is really accelerating. Many of the suppliers are getting their products certified. Some of them are being certified under the ISASecure programs, others under ISAE, and still others under the individual certification bodies around the globe. And you can see, this is just the back of the envelope survey I did, but you can see it's a who's who of the tier 1 suppliers, and going further down. So this is, kind of scratching the surface. There's many, many more, but it's a pretty impressive list of automation suppliers and security providers that are in this now. So just some quick information about ISASecure. It was started in 2007. It was a combination of some tier 1 suppliers and automation suppliers, and predominantly oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry is kind of, some folks don't think they've done anything, but they've really been the leaders in securing facilities and requiring secure products in their operations and deployments. We have 10 certification bodies around the world. We don't operate our own certification body. We're a conformance scheme owner, and so we have accreditation requirements that we publish, and credentialing of individual assessors that are required to get the accreditation to do assessments under the ISASecure scheme. So in the EU, Japan, ASEAN area, USA. So today we certify systems components and the development organizations develop processes. We promote adoption of the standards, and we collaborate with other organizations at ISA, including ISAGCA and ISA 99. And so we've got some new certifications in the roadmap I'll talk about, and activities in the building management system and electric sector. So our agenda said we'd cover how we're organized. So we are a subsidiary of ISA, International Society of Automation. It's a 501c3 professional engineering society. And in 2005, if you look at the right-hand side, we stood up a organization called Automation Standards Compliance Institute, whose mission was to house various certification schemes to certify to ISA standards. So today we have the ISA 100 Wireless Compliance Institute. We certify to the IEC 62734 standard. It's ISA 100 wireless brand. And then we have today, we're talking about the ISA Security Compliance. This is also under the Automation Standards Compliance Institute, and we certify to the 62443 standards. There's another organization, the ISA Global Cybersecurity Alliance, that promotes adoption of the 62443 standards. And then another organization under the Automation Federation. These are all under ISA, linking the oil and gas industry to prove cybersecurity. It's called LOGIIC, and they do research on security vulnerabilities in automation in the oil and gas industry. We get some matching resources from the Department of Homeland Security for that, and they like it because the same technology used in oil and gas, the automation systems, embedded devices, sensors, etc., are the same products used in other critical infrastructure industries. So that's been a well-received program. So in the ISASecure, we have a governing board, and they set the strategy, direction, and budgets each year. We have a technical steering committee that manages the development of our specifications. We have a marketing committee to do the outreach management, and then the staff support organization, which is me. We oversee the certification body, finance, admin, and website, etc. We have liaisons to other industry groups, you know, oversight on the accreditation bodies, the 17011s who do the accreditation on our behalf, certification bodies, and then various contractor support for subject matter experts, marketing, and website. Our governing board today, the chair is Kenny Messeron, vice chair Brandon Price from ExxonMobil, marketing chair Dan Dessereau from Schneider, and technical chair John Gillick from Johnson Controls. So for those who don't know, Johnson Controls is a $40 billion a year building systems supplier. Other governing board companies, so we have Chevron, Exxon, Honeywell, Johnson Controls, Saudi Aramco, Schneider Electric, and Yokogawa on our governing board. And we also have a voting member on the governing board from the ISA 99 committee. That's Eric Cosman today. He's the co-chair of the 99 committee. And this helps us ensure that as we do certification specifications, that they're meeting the intent of the standards themselves. If we have questions about it or interpretations on the standards, we submit our questions back to the committee liaison and you know, get the interpretations from the standards committees. This was our support team, so you know, there's myself and some other folks that support everything we do. And it's just a showing of logos of our supporters today. You know, it's mainly, you see the big oil companies and you know, the tier 1 suppliers, a lot of the certification bodies, and so others as well. So our certification program. So if you look at the automation life cycle, on the front end, you have product suppliers who design and manufacture the off-the-shelf control systems and components. And then integrators working with asset owners, these are the service providers. They engineer and integrate the off-the-shelf systems into site-specific systems or site solutions that are deployed and operated by the asset owners at the operating sites. Quite frequently, service providers are also involved with the operations and maintenance of systems, but ultimately they're the accountability and responsibility of the asset owners. And so you can see, you know, there's groupings of the 15 sections of the standards that are applicable to each of these different stakeholders in the life cycle. So today, our current certification scheme addresses the product suppliers certifying the off-the-shelf control systems and components to the 4-1 and 4-2 standards. Our roadmap intention is to cover the entire suite of standards. More about that a little later. So currently we have agreements with ISO 17011 accreditation bodies. They do accreditation of certification bodies in our scheme in accordance with the ISO 17065, ISO 17025, and our technical readiness requirements under ISASecure. So, so these are the ISO 17065 accredited certification bodies who are now doing certifications on our behalf. You can see this list, there's about 10 of them. There's CSSC, Exeter, TÜV Rheinland, FM approvals, TÜV Süd, and BIHOM. They're all accredited. We have 4 others that are in progress: Bureau of Errata, Applied Risk, Trust CB, and DNB. We expect them to be fully accredited by the end of this year. So just you know, a quick see on some of the certifications. 2020, there were a lot of certs. Many of these had started in 2019 before the pandemic. we tend to see certifications, closing out in like Q4 of each year just because of product life cycles and goals of companies. So there's a pretty good number of certifications. Just pointing out, the certifications were heavily oriented towards, industrial and process industries. But we made a concerted effort to broaden the appeal to building technology, number one, and then the power sector. So today you see like Johnson Controls, a building control system company, GE, and Wärtsilä. They're into the energy sector, power, and we're seeing more of that. Hirschman, there's another one in 2021. They certified to the 4-1 standard, and a product from Johnson Controls was certified in 2021. So year to date, 2022, we've got Otis Elevator. So they got their SDLA certified. They're obviously, everybody knows who they are. And we're seeing more in the building sector. And, we continue to see growth, from the traditional process industries. So our certification roadmap. So today we have 3 certifications. We have a certification for components, and it certifies network devices, embedded devices, application software, and host devices to the 4-1 lifecycle and 4-2 component security requirement standards. We have a system level certification, and similarly it certifies to the 4-1 lifecycle standard and the 3-3 standard. So these are the off-the-shelf systems. If we were certifying the site applications, there would be some other standards involved there. And then the security development life cycle. So companies submit their scope of their organization or their development organization that they want to have certified. Sometimes it's global, sometimes it's a single product or product line, or it could be a geographic site, but we certify to the 4-1 security development lifecycle standard, assessing their lifecycle to ensure that it includes the requirements from the 8 practice areas in the 4-1 standard. So certifications in progress. So we just finished an IIoT device and gateway study with the ISA Global Cybersecurity Alliance. And the purpose of that was to determine if the 62443 standards were useful for securing IoT devices and gateways, and could we also use them to certify them. And so the report concluded that, with 4 exceptions and 16 extensions out of about 120 requirements, 62443 is applicable. That study is available for download from the ISAGCA website and also on the ISASecure website. So we're under development. We got strong encouragement from the oil and gas majors to develop an IIoT device and gateway certification. And so we expect to launch this in the middle of this year, July 2022. The second half of the study related to the operating site assessment. The IIoT solution. This would be item number 4. And so this study will be out in a couple of months to evaluate the usefulness of 62443 for securing and certifying IIoT solutions. So this would mean all the technology stack from level 0, level 1 sensors and actuators up through on-premise, through a public network to cloud provider and back down. And so that one's a bit more complex, and we'll know more when that report's completed. It's another joint report between ISAGCA and ISAGCA. So, okay. So the other So IIoT devices and gateway will be available this middle of this year. So we're doing an operating site assessment, which is based on the 2-1 standard and includes requirements from 2-4, the threat assessment, 3-2, a risk assessment, and 3-3 standards. And so that'll be a core foundational operating site assessment scheme, and it can form the foundation of for doing derivative certifications and assessments for buildings, water and wastewater. You can go through the different sectors and take the base assessment and this base set of standards and your industry overlays on it to provide the tweaks to make them applicable for each of the industry sectors. But we're finding that these things are working pretty well. And as part of a byproduct of that, we'll also have the 2-4 certification, the service provider assurance. That was something we probably could have done as a standalone cert, but we just didn't see enough market requirement for it. But for the operating site assessment, it's going to be a necessity. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and it'll be available next year, just like the operating site. So you can see where we are. The gray areas, the off-the-shelf product certifications, and then we'll have certification that is for the integration service providers and maintenance service providers, and then we'll have a certification to provide an assessment or certification for an operating site. So we envision the site assessment. There's a lot of consultants that are doing site assessments, doing great work. But we think that there's a need, and since the standards are here, we think that there's a need to have a standards-based certification. So those same auditing companies, assessment companies that are doing this work can do it to this set of standards and provide a standardized assessment report that's useful for the owner-operators so they can benchmark internally and with their peers. Insurance companies can use it as a basis for portions of their underwriting. It's be consistent and standards-based, and government and regulatory agencies, can reference these standards in their policy making. And so having an auditing scheme for it, we think is going to be a really huge benefit in the market. So I mentioned the building space. So we've been collaborating with an organization. It's another not-for-profit, Building Cybersecurity, BCS, and they're establishing a certification for the as-built real estate market, certifying building technology and real estate assets. They're going to start with traditional office buildings and expand into other structures like hospitals, stadiums, etc. They'll be offered under the BCS brand. We've been supporting them along with NEMA, CIS, and others. There's a framework work product that's completed. They're doing some field trials on the assessment specification based on that. It includes the same set of standards that we would use from the site assessment, 2-1, 2-4, 3-2, 3-3, and other industry relevant standards. Real estate and buildings are highly connected to cloud service providers for a lot of different applications, and so there are some areas of coverage that 62443 can't do, and so there's like the cloud service provider specifications and the Center for Internet Security, maybe ISO 27000 that's also included. So more to come and more to hear about in an upcoming press release. This other organization, the ISA Global Cybersecurity Alliance, that's a lot of the same players in the tech space. in the cybersecurity space. And so, you know, we see a lot of fragmented and duplicative efforts in various studies. And so I try to connect the dots, and I think we're doing pretty well there. And so we've jointly done with ISASecure and ISAGCA, the IIoT device study and the IIoT system study. And we've done cross-reference work with the NIST CSF, ISO 27000, and other standards. We're going to work on NERC-CIT shortly. The main reason for these cross-reference studies is so that we can provide a basis in fact as to where 62443 shines, where it has its best coverage, why it should be used in conjunction with like ISO 27000 or instead of some other standards. But you know, we wanted to actually study this and you know, get our facts straight and not just have it as a bunch of conjecture and beer talk. So all the work that we've done with ISAGCA is published. It's available for free and redistributable, and a lot of great work. So I can't talk about ISASecure and our certification program without mentioning, you know, the great training program that we have for cybersecurity. So there's training for all these standards offered by ISA. It's top drawer training. We trained over 3,100 students in 2021. That includes some of the other classes we do, which might be like basic control system theory and that sort of thing. But you know, we continue to expand our program and the program coverage. Last year, ISASecure funded a new class. One of the things that we recognized was that there are a lot of great assessors in the marketplace doing 61850, 61508, ISO 27000 audits and assessments. And so they have a pretty good profile for doing assessments for the 62443 standards and automation and control systems. But they didn't have good familiarity with the standards. So, and that's one of our requirements for our assessors in the accredited certification body. So we funded the development of a 3-day class, and it's useful for suppliers who are developing products that they want to have conformant to the standards. And the mirror image is, you know, the assessors assessing to that same set of standards. Initially, we thought it was going to be 2 different classes, but as we started developing content, we realized that it was probably about 80% the same material that would be presented about the standards, but we have added modules that were specific to the suppliers, and then a few added modules specific to the assessor. So if you guys are interested in this program, there's a link here to contact the ISA training department. You can register. The first class is going to be sometime in April, I think the week of the 13th, but I don't think they've posted the schedule yet, but if you contact ISA training, they'll get you hooked up with it. So other resources. So if you want to see, you know, where things are at with ISASecure product certifications, you can go to the website and you know, look at the list of products that have been certified. You can sort them by company, you can sort them by certificate. There's the first one done all the way back in 2011. You can look at the certified systems. There's more in the pipeline. Same thing with the certified development organizations, you know, by company. And again, you know, it's a who's who. And then, you know, by certification date. First one was 2015, and the most recent was Otis Elevator. So let's see if I can get myself back there. Did I just get lost? There we go. what else? So there's lots of great white papers that we've developed, in conjunction with ISAGCA. So if you go to this site, there's just tons of material, like lots of white papers available for download. And so we've done a lot of these in collaboration, lots of them about the 62443 standards, what's happening in the industry, etc. So I'll just leave it at that. And there's my contact information for anybody who's interested in, participating. We have our ISASecure is a membership organization, and the members develop the certification specifications and program requirements, and we like to have a balance of stakeholders, including asset owners, certification bodies, tool suppliers, and asset owners. So anybody that's interested, these are like a who's who, the top drawer folks participating in this. So anybody that's interested, feel free to contact me. We developed another membership category that's very inexpensive. We call it adopter supporter. So anybody that wants to join, like for a large company, it's like $2,500 a year. For smaller companies, it's $750, and medium-sized companies, $1,500. But for that small price, you can join as a member and participate in the technical steering committee. If you want to be involved in the sausage making process, that membership category allows you to contribute to, review, and provide comments on work products that we're developing. You don't have voting rights, but you have everything but that. So no idea gets thrown away just because you don't have voting rights. But it's a good way to get in there. And if you're a supplier and you're having products certified, it would certainly make sense to put your name on the list to show that you're a supporter of the program. Since you're making that kind of investment in your product, securing your product, and having met your security achievements memorialized through the certification process. So that's it. I think we have plenty of time for questions and answers, and I'd be happy to answer questions about anything that we've discussed or something that we haven't discussed. So I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Before we get to the questions, I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to touch on the updated adopt order membership category.
Yes, I did. I just finished mentioning that, and the pricing at the low end, $7, the high end, $2,500. Pretty much a nothing burger from a cost perspective, but you'll be, swimming in circles with some of the best in automation and control system cybersecurity.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, sorry. I guess it just went right by me. It didn't catch it. Alrighty, so a bunch of questions coming in. As a reminder for folks, if you do have a question, you can use the question mark feature in your GoToWebinar console. Shoot those over to us, and then we will get them answered for you. Okay, our first question comes from Tom. Tom asks, does the ISASecure program also oversee compliance of the new BAS, BMS cybersecurity efforts of BCS, or do they and their standards development efforts fall outside of ISA oversight?
So I want to be real careful about how I answer this, because some of that is under development. So this is for the building cybersecurity piece. So please ask the question one more time.
Sure. Does the ISASecure program also oversee compliance of the new BMS cybersecurity efforts of BCS?
Right.
Or do they and their standards development efforts fall outside of ISA oversight?
Yeah, so our intention is, so we're still working those details out. So, as a first step, we help them develop their framework document in collaboration with some of these other great organizations. And our intention is to expand the scope of our accredited certification bodies to include certification bodies that are accredited to do the assessments for the BCS program. So the BCS organization will own the program, the brand, taking it to market, establishing the value proposition. But to get it started, we're working with them to leverage what we've already put together in terms of our certification bodies. So yeah, we'll oversee that. And then in the long run, they're going to continue to manage their specification development of their framework and any expansions of it into beyond the commercial real estate. So I think I've answered that.
Thanks, Andre. Okay, the next question comes from Robert. He asks, I have been told that Rockwell Automation has 62443-3-3 certification. Is that not the case? Also, 142 and 24. Please let me know if I am getting incorrect information.
Right. So if Rockwell says they have that certification, I think they're being it's truth in advertising. Most of the big suppliers, I don't know of any that if they say they have a certification, they do, because it's easily looked up. Typically, they have their certificates posted somewhere on their website. We didn't do their certification. We're not the only certification program that's around. There's, individual certification bodies, like even TUV Ryman, they're part of our program, but they issue certificates under the TUV grant. And they might also issue certificates under the ISAGCA program. So yeah, there's certifications out there that we haven't done. I know Rockwell has gotten the 62443-4-1 certification globally. I looked that up myself and I've seen their certificate, and they probably have all the others that they're claiming to have. So yeah, I would believe it if they're saying it. But you can look it up, they'll tell you what lab and you can see their certificate. Good, next question.
All right, next question comes from Rahan, who asks, for operating site assessments in July 2023, will it be done by ISA themselves or any company who is accredited by ISA to execute those?
Yeah, so the way our certification scheme is designed, we're the scheme owner. We, through our working groups, our technical steering committee, establish the detailed certification processes and requirements, certifying directly to 62443. And we accredit the certification bodies to do this work. But we don't have our own certification body. We don't have our own test lab, and that's by design. The way it's designed now, as policymakers and regulatory authorities, like EU, CNELEC, as they include these standards as part of their public policy and code, these programs are going to grow exponentially. And the only way to scale is through the existing paradigm of the 17011 accreditation bodies and the 17065 certification bodies. There's no way in the world we would be able to build a lab big enough to do this and make it global. So the program design the way it is now is excellent for this thing to scale in the future. And you can see, we have operations in the EU, Asia Pacific, etc. So yes, good question.
Okay, our next question comes. Okay, our next question actually comes in a couple times, so I'll just cover it myself. So the question is, will the slide deck be shared and will a recording of the presentation be available? So the answer to both of those is yes. Everyone who's registered will receive an email within 24 hours with links to both. At the same time, links to both will be posted up on our website in the webinar section, which is in our Learning Center. So you can check at your inbox or our website within a day. If for any reason you're having issues finding it or you don't get it, shoot me an email. My email is in the invitation for this webinar. So shoot me an email and I'll make sure I get you set up. Okay, our next question. Actually, it's a comment. Robert says the link to the ISA training does not work. Do you know what link he's talking about, Andre?
This one?
Yeah, perhaps. That looks like it works. So Robert, could be
Yeah.
Could have just transposed a character or two. If you're talking about something else, come back to us. Okay, next question comes from Khalid.
Yeah, we haven't sent out the slide deck, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. But either way, we'll get things squared up for you.
Yeah, I mean, he could have seen it on the screen and just written it in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question.
Khalid asks, with regard to BCS, are you also working with BACnet International?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Tom asks, where do we find more information on the new membership category?
The best bet is, let me see. It should be on the website and about us, membership information, how to become a member, download the application form. Let me make sure that we've got the most recent one up here. Yes, there it is. Adopter, supporter, member. And actually I was truthful in what the fees are. So good. All right. Yeah, so you can just download this application from the website. And, if all else fails, email me. This is my mobile phone number. Most people are afraid to give it out, but I do. You can call me or email me, aristino@isa.org, and I'll answer any questions that you need. Okay, next question.
All right, the next question comes from Abwadan, and he asks, what's the relationship between ISA and EXITA, as EXITA also has ICS security program or assessment certification program?
Right. So EXITA was the very first certification body under the ISASecure program. And so they're doing certifications on behalf of ISASecure. Globally, they've done them here in the US, Japan, but they also do certifications under the EXITA brand. So, like I mentioned before, some of these certification bodies like TUV Rhineland, they do certifications under their own brand. Perhaps they're doing it under ISAE. you know, they're in the business of doing certifications. They're good at it. They use our formula. They probably also have, you know, they have some legacy customers who really want to just have the TUV Rhineland mark, who don't really care about the ISASecure brand. So, and that's fine. You know, we don't have any angst about, you know, our labs actually competing with us. There's so much work to be done out there. Nobody's going to starve. So, you know, we think we have a good program. It's been pretty well received, and I think we have more certifications than any other program out there. So we're comfortable with that. Next question.
All right, the next question comes from Tom. As an ISA district VP elect, may I use this recording in district meetings as well as in our membership recruiting efforts?
Absolutely, yeah. So all this, you may do that. All the materials that we publish and post on our website can be reused. Yep. You just can't take our certification specifications off our website and develop a competing program. But certainly the suppliers can use that. The asset owners can use, you know, our specifications. We do that on purpose for transparency, so everybody knows what they're getting. And then, you know, these various statuses that we do periodically, and all our webinars, they're recorded and posted up, and absolutely you can use them. Next question.
Next question comes from Chelsea. Do we have a roadmap of certifications for a beginner individual in ISA 99?
Wow. So let me be sure. Can you repeat that question? I think I know what Chelsea's asking, but I just want to be sure.
Okay, so she says, do we have a roadmap of certifications for a beginner individual in ISA 99?
So is this, if this is for certification of a person, the answer is yes. So ISA offers training in tracks, and so they've got like an introductory track that provides an overview of the ISA 62443 standards, and then they have like a product developer track, and then an owner-operator track, and you can take these various tracks and you receive certificates of completion after you do a test at the end of them, and you can get up to 62443 expert. So yeah, for people, if you're training yourself and your colleagues, yeah, that's contact the training department, and they can set up these programs for you and describe programs that are already in place. They can do custom programs. But yeah, if you're looking at beginners, if you're a product supplier and you want to get your product certified, the best thing to do
for a person.
Okay, for a person.
Yep.
All right, good. Okay, next question.
Okay, the next question comes from Une, who asks, how is the certification process organized? Who should be contacted within ISA? For chartered labs, I mean.
Oh, if you want to become a chartered lab? So if there's...
That's what they're asking.
I'll answer both questions. So if you want to become a chartered lab to do certifications on behalf of ISASecure, send me an email, contact me directly, and I'll set up a web conference and discuss, what the application process is and the credentialing process and all that. I'll walk you through it. And depending on where you are, work with the 17011 accreditation body with you. If you're a product supplier and you're asking, how do I get started on having my products certified, the answer is, if you go to our website, you can contact your favorite certification body in our program, and you know, they'll also walk you through the process of how to do a product submittal, you know, what the costs are, the timing, you know, expected responsibilities on your end and on their end. So we do have a product supplier, I'm sorry, a certification body page with all their contact information. So you just go to accredited ISASecure certification bodies, and you can see we just list them and who the specific contact person is. For instance, if you're in the U.S., my recommendation is to contact Mike Medoff. This is his email and phone number. So, you know, it's easy. Or somebody from FM Approvals, you know, if you like them, they're all great companies. Interestingly, FM Approvals, they're a subsidiary of FM Global, who provides insurance on operating equipment. They do certifications that the operating equipment and environment is up to snuff, and then they'll provide insurance on that basis. So this is an initial foray into the insurance world. We expect to see more out of FM Approvals and FM Global later this year or next year. So it's an interesting development. Okay, next question.
Okay. So Une did come back and clarify. He was asking about the process of becoming a certification body himself. And he asked a follow-up question of how long does it usually take to become a certification body?
So if you're already a certification body and you have 17065 accreditation, and in particular, if you've been doing 61508 or 61511 SIL certifications, those are the most closely aligned assessor organizations to what we do. These automation and control systems are pretty complex, so usually the technical background's important, and so the folks doing SIL certifications have the best familiarity with this. If you're not, and so you know, you can become accredited in 6 months or less. If you have none of these things, it could take you a year. You might have to rework your assessment processes, build them. You have to meet 17065 requirements for independence. So if you're a consulting organization who think you have skills, now you want to go into certification, typically you have to stand up a separate legal and accounting entity to provide the arm's length independence that it's required from 17065. So, you know, that could take you a little bit longer. But
Okay.
if you wanted to talk about it, you've got my contact information. I can walk you through that a little bit more.
Okay. He then asks, how about for a 17025 accredited organization for testing?
Yeah, so 17025, that's requirements for like lab testing. That's helpful. That's a much lower bar to achieve than the 17065.
Okay. So I see we're at the top of the hour. We only have 3 more questions. So Andre, if you've got the time, do you want to tackle these last 3 questions?
Yeah, I have time. Yeah, I don't have another call for several hours, so
Okay, so
I can stay on.
You know, we're at the end of our scheduled time, so if you have to go, we understand. You'll get a link to the recording, which will include the answers to these final questions. If you've got the time and the interest, we'd love to have you stay on here for another couple minutes. All right, our next question comes from Justin. Justin asks, what collaboration are you doing with CIS?
Center for Internet Security. So we have a a team. It's the BCS team. I say we, but it's BCS owns this, but we're part of it. And so we have a representative from CIS, one from ISKI or ISA, and NEMA. So they're one of the folks that are collaborating on the detailed specifications.
Okay. Next question comes from Ashish. Is security levels of ISASecure the same as defined in 62443?
Yes. So we're certifying in our current certifications, we certify directly to the standard, and we use the 4 security levels as defined in the standard. So we're not doing any deviations or exceptions or extensions to the 62443 standard for the product certifications today. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay, and our final question comes from Deepak, who asks, can you please share the presentation? And just as a reminder, the link to the slide deck and the recording will go out to everybody within 24 hours via email. It will also be posted up to our website in the Learning Center within 24 hours. And if you have any issues, shoot me an email and I'll be able to get you access. My email address is included in the email invitation to this webinar. Okay, I think that's the last question, and 12:04. So, Andre, unless you have any other comments, I think we can wrap things up here.
Just, I think the more folks that we have that are involved in developing these programs and supporting the programs, the better. I'll do the best I can to connect the dots between different groups where it looks like they're duplicating effort. I could go on for an hour about other things that we're doing outside of this, but I would encourage folks to take a look at sign up and becoming a member. One of the benefits of membership is you get extreme discounts on cybersecurity training. So, for $1,500 or $2,500 as a adopter supporter member, you can get 30% discounts on the ISA cybersecurity training. So for that reason alone, it's kind of a no-brainer to do it. But and then you have access to the specification development process and people who are up to their eyeballs in this, some of the best in the world. So I would encourage you to become a member. That'd be my parting comments. And I appreciate everybody coming on board today and helping to elevate OT cybersecurity from an art to a science to an engineering discipline.
Awesome. Well said, Andre. Thank you for the informative presentation. And I want to, again, just second what Andre said. Thanks, everybody, for your attendance and your great questions. I look forward to catching you guys on the next webinar.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.